Alright, we're gonna find out what the next model is. Apparently, let's consult my... Okay, we're gonna do a tape roll. A roll of tape. And I'm gonna import this into all of my places. Or all of the places I can import orthographics, because I actually have multiple angles of this. Alright, so the easiest part of this, I'm actually, well, here, let me scale all of these up really quickly, because I don't like working with models a millimeter big. And I'm going to Alt-4 to hide my image planes in my perspective view, because I hate them with a deep and burning passion. We're going to go ahead and we are going to start with a... I'm going to say this is going to be the top. So we're just going to make a cylinder, and I'll sort of line everything up better, you know, shortly. But this is basically just going to be my tape roll, so I'm going to move this over here and just sort of try to center that as best I can on this object. And then that means I need to rotate both of these, which is annoying. So I'm just going to rotate these 90 degrees and 90 degrees again. That was another one of, had I planned that better, I probably wouldn't need to rotate these, but I also don't necessarily care. Not a thing that particularly bothers me. Alright, so just line these up with where they should go. And we're going to go ahead and just scale this to be a little bit larger. And I'm going to... This is where the adding of caps is kind of helpful. So I'm going to just go ahead and add a few caps into this. And I'm actually going to... This one seems to line up pretty decently. I'm going to just go ahead and delete many of these, pretty much all the inside bits here. Let's go ahead and grab these top and bottom edge loops and just do an edit mesh bridge. I could have started off with a pipe. I don't know why I didn't just do that. There is literally a thing for this. It is the exact pipe shape I was looking for, called a pipe, and it just makes what I just made. Anyway. Okay, so we have our tape roll. Our most beauteous of tape rolls. And I'm going to just grab the inner part of this and just extrude this really quickly in. So if I wanted to make that a different color, I could. Like, that's my cardboard bit. Alright, so let's go ahead, and I'm just going to duplicate this. And I'm going to scale this up ever so slightly. This is going to be like the start of my red piece. I'm just going to scale this on all the axes, because I think that would do me fine. Okay. So here's my red bit. It looks like I need an edge loop. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn on symmetry for this. That's actually, okay, there's a few things I want to do. I want an edge loop in the middle of this object. So I'm just going to extrude the side, scale it all the way down. It's going to give me overlapping faces, but I can just delete one of them, and now I have an edge loop perfectly in the middle of this, which means that I can turn on symmetry Y, I think. And if I select a face up here, it will select the corresponding bottom face. Excellent. Which also means that, just go ahead and save that. If I add in a loop, it should do that on both of the sides, which it did, which is delightful. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that outer thing, delete this weird shell, and then just sort of go in... Wow, that actually lined up really nicely. And just sort of delete all of these extra, like, weird bits that I don't super need, because they're not part of the red area. I'm also going to go ahead and turn off my grid, because it's annoying me. Alright, and let's go ahead and start shaping this in a way that is slightly less horrifying. Alright, so first of all, it seems like these faces in here kind of like straighten out a little bit, so I'm just gonna take them and just scale them flat. And these kind of, it looks like, come up here, so I'm just kind of like fudging in some kind of basic shape for this. I've not planned this or prepared this. This is pure unadulterated live modeling. Alright, so I'm gonna delete this. And I'm going to do Mesh Tools, Append to Polygon, and just make sure that, or just make a little try there, is kind of the shape I need. You do need to make sure Append to Polygon, for some reason, does not work with symmetry. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that on both sides, just to make sure that it matches up. And then what I'm going to do is delete this random thing of interfaces because I don't need that. I don't really know why I left that there, frankly. So I need to bring these interfaces here in towards the center more. So it seems like... actually, normal scaling didn't do too badly there. Alright, so this should just come into the inside of the tape roll, basically. Again, just going for, like, kind of rough blocking out of the shapes for now. And what I'm going to do for the next bit is the exact same thing I've been doing for pretty much all of my other models, is just with the fewest number of edge loops possible, block in this general shape up here. Alright, so it's a little convoluted. I could delete some of these edge loops or terminate some edge loops, but maybe I will, because actually there's going to be a lot of stuff to just like shift around for no reason. Who knows? I'm just going to start with the edge ones and just get them lined up the way I want them, and then I'll fix all the inner stuff after the fact, because I'm a monster. So here's actually a thing you can do if you don't want to move all those manually and you have all the outer ones set up. You can try doing an edit mesh average vertices. Now I normally highly strongly recommend against doing that. However, since these are all effectively just on two flat planes, it just sort of sucks them towards the center. If you're doing this on a model with volume, like a sphere or something like that, it's gonna like really crush down the sides. But for this, it doesn't make a lick of difference. Alright, so let's go and connect these little things together. I'm gonna go ahead and do a... This is also another weird thing where, like, sometimes edit mesh bridge, in this case it worked beautifully, but it sometimes doesn't like, bridging when you have symmetry on. I don't really know why. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in... I always like having one loop running along, like, a particular plane, like dividing something directly in half, so if I have to delete half, I can. But either way, we have this little thing connected here. And then it looks like... Yes. Okay, so on this side down here, which I'm going to mark by highlighting these edges so I can tell what I'm doing, we have a weird little extruded bit that apparently is on just the very wrongest side of my model possible. Like, this is... There's a weird thing with image planes where... Like, this one is actually backwards. Hang on a sec. I'm going to select my image plane, and I'm actually going to push that... You notice if I pull it, depending on where I move it, it's like obscuring parts of my model. I want to push this far back so I can see through my entire model. And then I'm just going to control... This is a really dumb way to reverse an image plane. I'm going to Control G this. Since everything's centered on the origin, what it allows me to do is scale on the -1. Nope. Scale on the -1 y x apparently. And now I have that lined up a little bit more where I want it to be lined up. I'm also moving this in some kind of crazy direction, and I have no idea how I'm moving this. Why I'm not just moving this with the top view, I don't know, but I'm just going to kind of extend that and, you know, kind of follow that rough shape for that, and then it looks like that sort of tapers a little bit, and this is like, again, I'll probably set up my, was that the right way the first time? It was. That's annoying. I can go back, set that back to 1. I don't know what view I have this at, but it's clearly a little wonky right now. Oh, no, I know why that is. It's because this should be rotated a different direction. I'm going to ignore it for now. It's fine. I'm going to wing it. The important thing is actually making the shapes. So, okay. So now we have this. I might pull this up just like a tiny bit. This like weird little flappy thing. Okay, so we need a hole in this. And this is actually relatively easy to accomplish. What I'm going to do is, since I have symmetry on, this actually makes it relatively easy. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to take these faces and just delete them, and now I have something that vaguely resembles that a little hole in there. Now I am going to go in, I think I'm going to add some edge loops into this so that I can define this shape a little bit better. Where, like, I want this to be slightly more rounded, and I also want this to be slightly more rounded, so just sort of, like, push that in like that, maybe, and then sort of, again, I'm just kind of winging this. This probably doesn't match the reference in terms of shape at all, but, you know, it is the shape. So we can do that, and then it also looks like this actually is supposed to sort of curve in a little bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and just sort of curve that a little bit. Again, some more edge loops in here would probably help with that pretty a lot, but for the general shape, you kind of get the point of one way to make this. I'll also go through and maybe stretch that a little bit. All right. So now I have this basic shape of the red part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to assign this a new material and make this a blend. Blend, blend, blend. If I can find a blend. Right. Blend. Screen, sorry. Alright, so I'm going to delete history on this with just Alt-Shift-D, so I don't need to dig for my blend, because I know I'm not going to use it. Now we have tape. Alright, so we have this. We need a way to give this thickness, which it does not have, so I'm just going to go ahead and extrude this. And mess a little bit with the local translate Z, and it doesn't do great with 90-degree angles, like at all. It's actually really catastrophically bad at 90-degree angles, but, you know, for this, it'll get me close enough. Now this has volume, and now what I'm able to do, would be to focus a little bit on the part that's like inside that like keeps this tape roll actually attached to the red part, and the pictures of this are not totally fantastic, so I'm gonna wing this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hide this tape roll, I'm gonna name it, and then I'm gonna hide it with Control H. And I'm gonna take these loops, and I'm just gonna give an itty-bitty little extrusion. That's like the bit that sort of clips on and holds it in place. And then it looks like somewhere in this vicinity there are some more little nubs that sort of go towards the inside. Now, there's other details in there that I am straight up not gonna worry about right now. What I'm gonna do is I'll turn off symmetry for like 2 seconds, and I'm just gonna extrude these faces out. And actually, apparently, I'm gonna actually just model it because it'll take quickly. And then I'm just gonna push those, and then it's not perfect, you get a little clipping, but that sort of is the clipping mechanism that holds this together. So now we have a tape roll, and I'm gonna just Shift H to unhide my tape roll. If you wanted to get particularly fancy with this, you could add in like a little silver blade. So I'm actually just going to do a dumb thing where I duplicate with Control D this tape roll, select the area I want the blade, delete everything else, and then I am going to just scale these edges flat and extrude this little thing, just sort of a little bit. Give this another little extrude. And I'm not going to worry about the actual blade bits, but now, you know, where this to... Weird, let's blend twice. But now we have a delightful little blade-esque thingy in here. And that, I think, is probably all you really need to do for this tape roll. You don't need to get, like, super crazy fancy with it, but that is a quick tape roll.